Now I'm going to take you through the basics of Scratch, and we'll start with something rather simple. But first, you'll notice that here I've got lots of different motions. I've got move forward, I've got turning, I can get it to point and look at things. That's all under motion. Under control, here I can decide to get it to do something under certain conditions. There are others as well that you can have a look through, where I can change how things look. Later in other videos I'll show you how to do sensing, as well as sound, as well as the other things here as well. But the main two, certainly for now, is going to be the motion controls and the actual control to activate things. Now, let's get the cat to move around the screen. Now, of course, I can pick the cat up and move it using the mouse, but let's perhaps get it to move around using our arrow keys. Now, I'm going to start off with a control. I'm going to have it so that, well, when the spacebar is pressed, what do I want it to do? Well, I want it to move. So that's a motion. So I'm going to get it to move by, say, 10 steps. Now, if I push the spacebar, it will move 10 steps forward. Now, of course, the spacebar is a silly key probably to do that. Instead, I'm going to change that spacebar. You can use any key really on the keyboard. I'm going to choose the right arrow key. So now, if I choose the right arrow key, it will continue to move forward. Now, let's say I want to have it so it will move backwards. Again, let's have another control. So this time, when the spacebar is pushed, no, I don't want the spacebar. I want the left arrow key. What I want it to do, well, I want it to move again, but this time, instead of 10 steps forward, I'm going to get it to go 10 steps back. And one way to do that on this occasion is to have -10, and here you could just type how many steps you want it to take. So this is going to be -10. So now, if I hold down the left key, it moves to the left, and if I hold down the right, it then moves to the right. Now, how would I get it to go up and down? Well, if I wanted to use the same idea, I would use the control to start it off. So not the spacebar. Let's go for the up arrow. And on this occasion, what do I actually want it to do? Well, moving 10 steps is not going to help. One way is to increase it going up and down. Now, in maths, you would learn that X is left and right, and Y is up and down. So one way to do that is to change Y by 10. So let's try that. So if I now push the up arrow, you'll notice it's going up. Now the alternative way of moving, say, 10 steps to the right would have actually been to have said change Y by 10. In fact, these two here are really the same thing, on this occasion anyway. Now, if you do click something and you place it on the right, if you want to get rid of it, one way is just to physically pick it up and move it back to the left, and that's one way of getting it to disappear. So let's just finish off this quick introduction by going back to controls. I'm going to choose the down arrow, and this time I'm going to have it coming down, so that's Y, up and down, and I want to get Y to change by not 10, because 10 is going to go up. I want it to go down, so I'm going to have to change that 10 to -10. So now when I move around, I can actually just use the arrow keys to get the cat to move about. There's an extra dimension to this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have my cat run around using the arrow keys, and I'm going to have another character chase it. Now, before I do that, what I'm going to just get you to observe is that this is called Sprite 1. Now, Sprite 1 is another word for a graphic, and what I'm going to want is I'm going to want to pull in maybe another animal. Now, if you look in costumes, you will find a number of different characters that you could have, but let's choose an animal, and it'd probably be more appropriate. I'm going to choose a dog on this occasion. So if I click OK, you can pick this up. So I've got two sprites. I've got Sprite 1, which is my cat, and I've also got Sprite 2, which is the dog. Now, what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to have the dog follow the cat. Now, how do I actually go about doing this? Well, you'll notice that when I click on the cat, I've got a number of different controls which I set up a little bit earlier. When I click on Sprite 2, my dog, I've got nothing. So what I'm going to do to start with is I'm going to have it so that when I click the green flag over here, I'm going to get the dog to do something. Now I am going to want him to do this forever. So you'll notice that there are a couple of different ways of getting what's called loops, but this one we'll start with for the moment is forever. And what am I going to get it to do? Well, let's get it to actually point towards the cat. So here I can find point towards, and I can click this into place, and I've got probably a few choices. I can choose the cat, or indeed I can choose the mouse pointer. In fact, just out of interest, if I click on mouse pointer and join this all up so it will work, now when I click on the green flag, you will notice the dog always follows and points towards the actual cursor itself. Let's hit stop. Well, I don't want it to do that. Instead, I want it to point towards Sprite 1. So now when I click on the green flag, you will notice it's not following the cursor, but when I now use my arrow keys, the dog will face towards the cat. Okay, well the next thing I need to do is to get the dog to actually move towards the cat. So let's try motion, and let's get the dog to move forward. Now I don't want him to catch him too easily, so I'm going to change it. Let's just take it down to one step forward at the moment. So here I've just placed it there, so now you can see the dog is already moving towards. Let me just stop that for a second. So you will see that when the flag is clicked, it's going to do this forever. It's going to first of all point towards Sprite 1, the cat, and then it's going to move one step forward. And every single time it's going to keep readjusting, pointing towards the cat, and then moving forwards. So let's just move my dog back a bit, and I hit go. So now I'm hoping that because I can move 10 steps forward, I'm hoping that I can outrun the dog, although actually not that easily. Well, a little bit of fun anyway for now. In the next video, let's try to make it a little bit more sophisticated. So, my dog was one sprite, cat is another, and you saw that there were quite a few characters that I could choose from. But let's say, for example, I want to change my cat here. So I click on Sprite 1, and you'll notice there are a couple of tabs here. Here are the scripts. Those are the things that control my cat. I've also got some costumes and sounds. Well, let's worry about sounds another time. For costumes, you will notice I've got a couple of different characters here. Now if I click on this one and then go edit, you will notice I've actually got a cat that I could change. Now I could change the graphic itself just by drawing. Another way, which actually I think you may have noticed that the cat is possibly a little bit big. So let's use this one to actually just shrink my cat a little bit. So when I click OK, so this time when I click go, and I can run around, my cat itself is a little bit smaller than the dog. So that's one way of changing it. Let's just hit stop. Another way, I could edit it, and I could import a graphic from my selection. So rather than choosing that cat, maybe I might choose this one. So I click OK. Now you will notice that I've still got my cat here, and I can delete that. I've just highlighted it and hit the delete key. I'm just going to put my cat back in the middle. Click OK. So this time, when I now hit go, my cat, although he's running backwards, so it does seem that does seem a little strange. I think maybe what I'd need to do is actually change the way that my cat is controlled. So rather than using my arrow keys like you can see I'm doing here, let's just change it in a different way on the next video. Okay, so just a quick recap. If I want to change things, maybe let's change my dog. So I click on Sprite 2, must be on the Costumes tab, edit it. Now I could change him, maybe give him some sort of black spots, or change him in any way that I like. One thing that's really nice is I can shrink my dog just a little bit, So click OK. You will notice that the dog is now a little bit smaller. So again, I click on Go, and he will chase the cat around the screen. Okay, but as I say, my cat runs backwards, which cats don't do. So let's change that in the next video. It does seem a little bit silly that when I move my arrow keys, I get the cat to move. Backwards is actually getting the cat to physically move backwards, which is a bit strange. So what I'm going to do is get it so that the cat actually runs around the screen and is always pointing in the direction that he's going. Now to do this, I need to make sure that I have selected Sprite 1, and then I'm going to choose the scripts here. And actually, to make life really easy, I'm just going to get rid of all of them and start again. And so everything, let's just move everything to the left. So I've got this sort of blank slate really. So here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to control it so that when the up arrow key is pushed, what I'm going to get it to do is I'm going to get it to move 10 steps forward. So now when the arrow key is pushed, as I'm doing now, it's moving forward. And then when the left arrow is pushed, what do I want it to do? I want it to move left. So here you'll see you've got turn 15 degrees left. So now you'll notice that when I push the left arrow key, he can rotate on the actual spot. Now, when I want to go right, so here my right arrow key, and I'm going to get it to do a motion of turning right. So now, when I click go, the dog's going to chase it. I can move forward using the up arrow, and left and right. So now it's a little bit more realistic on how he actually moves. Actually, I think it's possibly this way. It's a little bit more fun. What happens if the dog actually catches the cat? At the moment, basically there's nothing. When the dog gets there, obviously it just goes a little bit nuts until the cat can run away again. So what I want to do now is get it so that the cat will do something. So what we're going to do is we're going to have it so that when the dog does finally catch up with the cat, it's going to just basically say meow. Now you can do this one of two ways actually. The first is you can have it so that you change the looks. So let's go, we've got the cat, and we're going to have, it's actually sensing, yes I believe, yes. If I'm just trying to find it. Oh, yeah, so touching there. So touching Sprite 2. So if the cat is touching Sprite 2, what do I want it to do? Well, here I'm going to have some form of control now. So let's have an if. Okay, so if this cat is touching Sprite 2, what do I want it to do? Well, I'm going to want it to say, let's have say hello for 2 seconds. Well, let's say hello for 2 seconds. Get it to do that. Now, when is it actually going to do it? Well, at the moment it's never going to do it because I've not actually told it to look to see whether it's being touched by Sprite 2. So, just like the dog, if I go back to the dog for a second, you'll see here that when I click the flag, this is going to go on forever. I'm going to need to do something similar with the cat. So when that's clicked, what I'm going to ask it to do is I'm going to ask it to do something forever. And what am I going to get it to do forever? Well, I'm going to get it to have a look to see if it's touching the dog, because if it is, then I want it to actually say hello for 2 seconds. So click on that. Now this actually very quickly starts to look complex, but if you start to build it up slowly, generally speaking, it's not too difficult. Let me have a go now. So now I can run away from the dog, but if I catch, if it gets caught, see how it says hello. Let's get it to run away. It's still saying hello. Actually, probably hello is not the best. Let's say something a bit more appropriate. So let's just stop that for a second. So instead of saying hello, I can change and put a message here. So let's say meow. So now when I run it, my cat is going to say meow for 2 seconds. In fact, I could even change that. Let's just stop that. So let's not do it for 2 seconds, let's do it for 1 second. So let's change that. So now my cat's extremely brave because it only goes meow for a second rather than 2. Let's just stop that for a second. I was getting the cat to actually just come up with a little message saying hello or even meow. Actually, let's get it to do some sounds. Now in here, just taking you through that just once again, ready? You've got it so that when the flag's clicked, it's going to do something forever. It's going to check to see if it's being touched by Sprite 2, and if it is, it's going to then say meow for just 1 second. Wow. Let's go and have a look at sound. If I click on sound, there's quite a few here, and actually coincidentally, there's actually a play sound here. So if I pick this up and drag this on here, now when I play it, and I do get caught by the dog, it will go meow. So for those people that can't really hear, it's saying meow, and for those people that can hear, yeah, they'll hear it. Actually, one thing that just move my cat away and stop it for her. Of course, there are lots of different sounds that I could choose from. I could even record my own sound, which actually could be quite amusing. Perhaps not at this moment. Anyway, that's going to get you started on certainly the basics of Scratch, but there's quite a few other things that you could do to make it even more entertaining a game. And in fact, I think you'll probably notice that very quickly we've got a game going here. Actually, it's more fun really to make it than actually play it, to be honest.